Good morning and welcome to one and all for this wonderful one-day workshop on adolescent mental health. So, KMCH College of Nursing has taught it as a two-way process. One, it will be personally useful for you as you are in that age group. And number two, it will be useful for you professionally so that you can pass it on to others. Because a lot of us learn many things, and whatever we learn, we are interested in supplying to others, but very rarely apply to ourselves. Like advice. All the advices we give, if we follow, we would have been a much better person. Sometimes the person receiving the advice gets better, whereas the person giving advice very rarely gets better. So that's why I said it's a two-way process, and rightfully they have chosen the first topic as resilience, because if you have resilience, then all other topics that come, you will be able to make healthy choices and you will be able to empower. And only if we are resilient, you can help others, and you can say no to substance use, you can communicate assertively, and you can help others. As I said, if you have to help others, you have to be strong. You have to be resilient, and you should have a good self-esteem. So how many of you are here resilient? Please raise your hands. How many of you can say that you are resilient? I very rarely see, so I think you need it the most, right? Why are you suspecting that you are resilient or not? That's a big question, right? To put it simply, what is resilience? Imagine you have a glass ball, and then you have a football without air filled in it, and you have a football which is properly filled with air. Now what happens if I drop that glass ball? Imagine, just you have to go through the visualization. If it is a smaller workshop, I would have demonstrated it practically. It will just shatter into pieces. The other ball, which is not filled with air, if you drop it, it just lies there. Whereas the ball full of air, you drop it, it bounces back. The more forcibly you put it on the floor, the more forcibly it comes up. So what does that communicate to you? Are you a glass ball? Or are you a ball which is not filled with air? Or are you a ball which is properly filled with air? In other words, when you face a stress, when you face an adversity, when you face something you don't like, you are shattered and you want to give up on whatever you are doing, and sometimes in extreme cases, do you want to give up on life? Because people without resilience, whenever they face with stress, suicide is an important aspect. So, resilience, in fact, I have taken it on a mission with the help of few organizations to take it to the school children. That's the age at which you have to teach resilience and optimism. These are the two things I have decided, and it's going on as a pilot project with the help of Shanti Ashramam in some of the schools. So everybody needs it. So what is that? The air that fills it up, the ball. Can you imagine? What is the air that fills up the ball so that you can bounce back? Self-confidence or self-esteem. If you are confident about yourself, then you think that you can face anything. This is just a passing phase. Iduvum kadandu pogum. When you have that mindset, then you can face any adversity, and resilience is not merely facing an adversity. If you face an adversity and come out, and that adversity is going to produce scars on you, then that's not resilience. If you are going to live with the scars of adversity, a lot of people come to me and say that when I was a child, my parents didn't treat me properly, and because of that I have depression. Because of that I am not able to grow properly. Because of that my confidence is shattered. How old are you? 35. And still want to carry on that? Are you not an adult and who can think for yourself and come out of it? But we carry the scars too long than necessary. So that's not resilience. I have gone through so many problems, and with every problem I have come out, but I am carrying the scars of the problems, and that's weighing down on my shoulders, and I am not able to grow. That's not resilience. Then what's resilience? With every problem I face, I learn something from it and I come out better. With every problem I face, I grow. With every problem I face, after facing that, I have become a better version of myself. If you are constantly able to become a better person with every problem that you are facing, then you are resilient. So what is that is needed for that? Is a growth mindset. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset. How many of you have a growth mindset? Okay, at least here I can see some hands raising. Fixed mindset is, this is what I know, this is what my capacities are, this is the background I come from, this is what the opportunity I am given, I cannot go beyond this. This is what I know, I cannot learn anything further. Whereas the growth mindset is, I can learn, I can change anything about myself. Physically I cannot change my height. So don't focus on what cannot be changed, but focus on what can be changed. Your attitude can be changed, your knowledge can be changed, your skills can be changed, your confidence level can be changed. There are quite a lot of things, if you look at it, you can change. So if you are growth mindset oriented, then automatically your self-confidence comes there, automatically you become a resilient person, automatically your mental health develops. This in short, I have completed my talk. Right? So it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent. So you don't need a strength, physical strength, you don't need intelligence, but if you are responsive to change. Normally I used to say, there are only two things needed in life for you to survive. One is responsive and second is responsible. If you are responsive to what's happening around you, and then you accept responsibility for the growth of you and people around you, then you're going to be a fantastic person. So how responsive are you? So there comes the, how sensitive. But when I use the word sensitive, some people take it, if I am too sensitive, then I'll be withdrawn. That's not the kind of sensitive I am talking about. Most of the time, we are not even sensitive to what's happening around us. Ask an average person, how is your life? How many of you will say that it's great? Most of you say that it's going on. It's okay. Why? Because you are not sensitive about what's going on around you. You are not getting excited about anything. In fact, I used to say, I have not found the equivalent word in English. Viyathu. Viyappu. How many of you really, oh, what a great scene this is. Oh, what a great food this is. Have you ever been excited? How many times in a day you get excited? Positively. In a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. So if you don't get excited, how will your life be? Boring. Right? That's why it's boring. So, life around you, things around you, society around you, or your teachers around you are not going to change. Who can change? Only I can change. Right? But if you change, what happens? Your inner universe changes, and because of that you produce change around you. So that can happen again, coming back, self-esteem, growth mindset and resilience. Okay? So, are you responsive to changes? Because they used to say, to tell you a common example, there was a teacher who after 40 years of teaching retired, and in retirement speech everybody said, here is a teacher with 40 years experience. Then the teacher in his acceptance speech said, no, all of you made a mistake. I am not a teacher with 40 years experience. I am a teacher with 1 year experience repeated 40 times. Because those were the days. Things never changed. In fact, I had a physics teacher in my PU. He will say, come on, take down notes, and he can dictate notes. He wouldn't write on the board, he wouldn't look into the book, he never had a notes. Then I was amazed at his capacity. Then I went and talked to some of the seniors. They said, this is the same thing he's doing every year. Right? But today, can you do that? No. I have to update myself, otherwise my patient searches in Google and comes and asks me, doctor, you know that this has come. Sometimes I have to say, sorry, I haven't updated myself, I'll look into it and come back to you next week. I have to accept. And when will you accept that you don't know? Only when you are confident. If you are feeling insecure, then you have to put up a face that I know everything, and then you fail miserably. To accept that I don't know. That's what they always used to say. You call any Indian speaker, he would have spoken on a topic, then question answer session. Invariably there will be questions irrelevant to the talk concerned. And they will continue to answer, irrespective of the topic, because they are on the stage and they have to answer. Whereas you call a foreign speaker, he will talk that subject in depth. If you ask any question outside, he will say, sorry, that's not my area of specialization. I don't know. You ask anything in this topic, I'll answer. Right? That's the confidence. So we should know. So one is responsive to change. So Nelson Mandela, First was Charles Darwin. He was the master of evolution, so he talks about responsive to change in order to survive. Nelson Mandela is the one who spent so many years in prison and still would come out after that strongly. So he is the person who talks about the greatest glory of living lies not in never falling, but in raising every time you fall. That's why I talked about the football. Are you going to be a glass ball? You are going to be shattered? Or even a ball without air where you are going to just lie down? Or are you going to bounce back? So resilience is the capacity for healthy development and successful learning in spite of challenges. Challenges we are all going to face in life. So it's a positive adaptation in the context of past or present adversity. Okay? So that's why I said childhood adverse events is a very big topic in every mental health issue where we are not getting recovery in spite of the best of diagnosis and medication. Then you need to go in depth into the childhood adverse events because trauma, they have not come out of it. So you have to heal them out of their trauma. So people who are not able to adapt positively. So the past experience is guiding you, your present behavior. That's why you develop what are called limiting beliefs. I cannot do this. This is my capacity. I cannot go beyond this. Every time I try something new, I fail. I have failed in the past, so I cannot succeed. So these are the kind of limiting beliefs we develop within ourselves, and you don't test it. Is it true? At age 5, I was not able to do that, but at age 15, I can do that, but I have never tried. In fact, yesterday in one of the meetings, one lady who is a coach, she was talking about, she's about 55 years, said, only after attending this program, I could sleep with lights off. Otherwise, I had the fear of darkness. So only after the particular thing, I was able to sleep without lights for the first time in my life in 55 years. She had the fear as a 5-year-old child, but allowed it to continue till that time. So are you allowing your past to limit your present? Most of us are doing that because we don't have the awareness. So are you allowing your past to limit your present? And by that, are you limiting your future? So your growth mindset, you need to become aware. Am I adapting positively? Am I changing? And am I growing? At every point of time, whenever you are faced with a challenge, when you are saying, I cannot do it, I cannot learn it, then ask yourself, is my past coming in the way of my present and preventing my future? So positive adaptation is. So life will be full of ups and downs. What is this? ECG. If it is a flat ECG, no ups and downs, what does it mean? You are dead. So you want a life which is flat, no ups and downs? No way. There will be downs and you have to create the ups. Downs will come automatically. You don't have to do anything. Whereas the ups, you have to really push up. Because gravity pulls you down. Like gravity, there are so many people around us who will pull you down. So you should identify people who are pulling you down and who are helping you to go up. So that's what people call as toxic people. First is you don't be a toxic person. Second, avoid toxic people around you. So if you have to go up, you have to choose your friends right. You have to choose your environment right. So that's the most important thing. Because you are an average of 5 persons you move around with. You are an average of 5 books you read about. And most of us, what do? Don't read books and end up watching serials. These serials are worse than serial killers. They kill your time. They implant negative ideas in your mind. In fact, that takes away resilience, I would say. And even some of the actors in those serials commit suicide often because they keep portraying these negative images so much they get into them. And they have conducted a survey where in a 30-minute serial, 15 minutes goes for advertisement. That means they are using your brain for those 15 minutes to sell a lot of things. Number two, in those 15 minutes, there are 30 negative ideas and 3 positive ideas. So what will your brain absorb? Only negative ideas. Is there anything that talks about how somebody came out with hard times and still they could succeed? Very rarely. They always say how you can do some harm to others, how you can cheat somebody. These kind of cheap ideas are embedded into your mind. So that's what your brain is fed up with. So a diamond is just a piece of charcoal that handles stress exceptionally well. The hall is full of women. Who is not interested in diamond? Right? Everybody wants a diamond. Do you want to become a diamond? Yes, you can. If you can face hardships, stress, and withstand it for enough time, you will be a diamond yourself. There was a questionnaire which was created with almost 63 different questions. Finally, they boiled down to 28 different aspects, and when it is crunched again, 5 factors emerged as the important factors of resilience. They are, number 1, optimism, freedom from stress and anxiety, individual accountability, openness and flexibility, problem solution orientation. So if you are going to be problem oriented, then you will always find problems. If you can identify a problem and then become solution focused, then you will be solution creator. So think about persons around you. How many of them are problem creators? How many of them are solution creators? You have more problem creators around you, then there will be more problem in the place, in the institution, in the organization, in the group, in the family, wherever. There are more solution creators, then there will be more solutions. Leave others. Are you a problem creator or a solution creator? Think about that. Okay. So, these are about 20 main characters of resilience. So, I'll expand on it. Okay. One is optimistic in nature. Optimism is what? Whenever there is a problem, you always think that I can overcome this, there will be a solution, and I can learn from it. I am not going to be bowing down to this problem. Whenever there is a problem, whenever there is a setback, how many of you give up? You start something new, then it doesn't go well as expected, and you also don't get enough help. How many of you give up? Almost 90 to 95%, 98 even. Okay? So they say probably the top 3% control the rest 97%. So the 3% is equal to 97%. So each focused, optimistic individual is equal to 30 of his contemporaries. So that's where the leaders are. Are you going to be a leader or are you going to be just following and taking instructions? If you have to be leading, you need to be optimistic. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can learn. Things will change. I can work it up. If there is a problem, something is not working, let me try it on my own. But if I don't find the solution on my own, if I ask enough people, then I'll be able to get the solution. So ask as many people as you can. That's the most important thing. That can happen only if you have a positive mindset, only if you have a growth mindset. In order to do that, as I said, you need to be self-confident. There are two things. One is self-esteem, another is self-confidence. Self-esteem is how you have evaluated yourself. Your evaluation of yourself as a whole is your self-esteem. Your self-confidence is about your skills, about a particular aspect. Yes, I am a good student. If you go deeper, I am a good student of this particular subject, whereas in this subject I am not that good. Like that, your self-esteem is a very, very complex portrait. It is not like I have low self-esteem, I have high self-esteem. I have confidence about me in some areas, I don't have confidence about me in some areas. Okay, it's not that I have very low, like people say, inferiority complex. No. You are confident. If you look at, but we don't look at areas where you are confident about. There cannot be somebody who lacks confidence 100%. All of us have confidence about ourselves in certain areas. Yes, these are the aspects I can do well. This is the aspect in which I really excel. And this is the aspect where I am zero. So when you go into such depth, normally I tell them, for any question, you have to go into, normally they say 7 level, I say 8 level questioning. But most of us just scratch the surface and stop there. You don't go deeper. So self-confidence and self-esteem are interlinked, and this is a very, very complex process. It's almost like a portrait with millions of strokes. Each one is different. So that constitutes your self-esteem. So you think about the areas. Suppose you ask me if I can talk on public, yes. But whereas I talk to strangers in a small group, do I initiate a conversation? No, I may not be comfortable with it. Right? So, there are differences. Speaking itself, communication. Nobody can say that I am a poor communicator. I communicate well in this area, I don't communicate well in this area. Like that, if you dissect at depth, then you will find out there are areas where you are confident. There are areas where you are not confident. Then you identify, okay, this is what I need to change. Because you don't have to change everything. So, if you want to change, as I said, the growth mindset, first have a growth mindset. Yes, I can change. So, this is something I need to change. Changing that, will it help me? Yes. Then I will change. Changing that is not going to make a great difference, then I don't have to. So you go to a new school or a college where 10 people have come from a group where they have learned French as a second language, they talk French. So should I learn French? No, it's not going to make much difference in my growth or career unless otherwise I am going to France after completing my course. Right? Then I don't have to change just because those 10 people talk. So like that, in every aspect, ask yourself a question whether changing yourself will help and changing is possible, and then work on that. So, who will change? Who will work on improving herself? Only with a person with self-confidence. A person with overconfidence start thinking that I know everything. But once you reach that level, again you get into a fixed mindset. So a quest for growth, I want to change. So that can happen only with a confident person. So evaluate yourself, where you stand and how you value yourself. And where did this self-esteem come from? Your evaluation of yourself, your confidence about yourself, where does it come from? It is the conditioning by people around you. Other people's opinion about you. But are they unshakable facts? No. If I am biased, I don't like you, then I can think you that you are incapable. And I can even say that. But you don't have to accept that as an unshakable fact. You evaluate. Is the other person saying, is it true? No. Then you don't have to take it. So that kind of awareness is needed. But we don't have awareness. We allow everything to pass into our head and our mind. Because you lack the awareness. So I say, our brain is the supermost computer. No other computer can ever reach the stage of your mind. Calculations they can do faster. Certain repetitive things they can do faster. Even playing chess, they come out. But can it completely create, can it identify the patterns? Like you have seen somebody at age 10. 10 years or 15 years later you meet the person, you can still recognize them. Whereas a computer, in order to do that, you have to probably require 200 supercomputers connected. That's the kind of brain's capacity. But only thing is, we don't have a proper virus protection software. So we allow every virus to get in. Other people introduce it very easily. You watch a serial, it goes in. You talk to somebody, it goes in. Like some of my health anxiety patients, they hear somebody died of a heart attack, immediately they develop a chest pain. They don't even know the connection between the two. So then I have to ask, probably spend half an hour or 1 hour, when did you develop, how did you develop? Then they become aware, oh, this is the news I read, only after that this problem started. Like that, so many things are introduced into our mind even without we are aware. So that awareness is required. Identify how your self-esteem is formed. As I said at the end of this talk, if you have to carry home, go home and do the homework. What is my self-esteem and how was it formed? Is that helpful to me or is it preventing my growth? If it is preventing my growth, how should I change it? What are all the things I need to throw away from my self-analysis? That's number one. Do I have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? So what should I do about it? And number three, am I resilient or give up in the face of a problem? Just look back into your past life. How many problems have you faced and how have you dealt with it? And at the end of it, have you come out as a stronger person or you have become weaker? These three exercises you can go back today and do it, because after 48 hours you don't remember anything, maximum. Whatever knowledge that you don't use it, you lose it. So there's no point in attending a program if you don't learn anything out of it. That's why I said it's going to be personally useful and professionally useful. Right? So these are the three things. All other things are only like connecting the dots. But what are the three core areas? These are the three core areas. Okay? Self-confident and high self-esteem. Then planning and executing. How many of us have planned anything in advance? For some people, they are very, very organized. If they are going for a tour, 1 week before their bag is packed. But for many people, that morning, they will be in a hurry and they will be missing a lot of things. So, prefrontal cortex, how strong it is. You need to train it. That's why I always tell the parents, you teach your children from a very young age so that they arrange their next day needs previous night itself, so that there is no stress in the morning for the mother, for the son. So planning need to be taught at that early age. So plan and execute, because most of us don't have a plan. We do things impulsively, and that's why it goes wrong. And do we learn from the mistake? I tell my people in training programs, commit as many mistakes as possible. Don't worry. You should not be afraid of committing mistakes. But only one thing, you cannot repeat the same mistake twice. You can commit new mistakes. If you are repeating the same mistake twice, what does it mean? You are not learning from your mistake. Suppose I get angry with somebody and I say sorry with the person because I accept it's my mistake. Then after 2 days again I fight with the same person, I get angry and I say sorry. Third day I do the same. Will my sorry have any value after that? No. That means I am not learning from the mistake. I am committing the same mistake again and again. So I won't learn. So learning from the mistake, correcting, planning and executing. Because all of us will commit mistakes in our profession, in our personal life. But every mistake, you have paid for it. By time, by energy, by the outcome, some wrong outcome, all that. So if you don't utilize it, then it's a waste. So every mistake you should be learning. And that learning, not only from that mistake, you should be able to generalize. Similar mistakes, how can I handle? How can I prevent anything related to that? Like that, if you expand, only then that will be helpful. So planning and executing. That's again a hallmark of a person with resilience. Then another important thing, what we call emotional dysregulation. The modern day youth have a lot of problem with managing their emotions. They are impulsive because they want it now. In fact, I was asked to consult a boy who attempted suicide at the age of 15. The reason is he asked for the latest iPhone. His parents were away. His grandparents were there. They said, okay, let your parents come, we'll discuss with them. I'll get you after a week. It's a promise. He said, what's the point in getting me after a week? If you don't get it now, it's no use. So I want it now. Instant gratification. That's what has happened to the modern day youth. That leads to lack of postponement of immediate gratification. Because if you need to grow, you need to postpone your immediate gratification needs. You should learn to control impulses. So that's where the emotional dysregulation comes. So emotional dysregulation, and you are not able to control your emotions, what will happen? Years of relationship can be destroyed in a moment of anger. In an impulse, I see a lot of people cutting their hands. Sometimes, if the important artery is cut, they lose their life. They throw and break things. during 3 years you have attended a course and during exam time your emotions go completely out of your control, all 3 years are wasted. So waste of time, waste of relationship, money, lot of resources. Emotional dysregulation leads to a lot of problems and a lot of mood swings. If they continue to happen, then you are prone for depression and bipolar. So that's the hallmark, forerunner of later day emotional disorders. So you need to control and regulate emotions. That comes from immediate gratification needs. So postponement of immediate gratification is an important technique that you need to learn. Can I have it later? In fact, how many of you know about the term emotional intelligence? How many of you know the term emotional intelligence? Okay. You know the famous experiment which started all this? Where it all started? First standard students. That's about age 5. One teacher said, I'll keep you 5 chocolates in front of all of you. I'll come back after 5 minutes. If you eat it now, that's all you have. But if you wait without touching it till I come back, you will get the double. Right? Such a simple experiment. That's where the emotional intelligence started. That's why I said emotional intelligence is mainly postponement of immediate gratification. That's where it started. So people who waited got double the reward. They were followed up later. They succeeded in academics, they succeeded in life, they succeeded in everything. Okay? Whereas people who took it immediately, they just had it so. So somebody going to the gym, what are they doing? Regularly for half an hour or 1 hour. They endure pain. Going to the gym and working on your muscles is not something enjoyable to start with. I have a colleague of mine at 65 who goes and works out to the gym for 3 hours a day and comes and does 20 surgeries after that. He says, if I don't go to the gym, I don't get energy. To that level, he has liked it. Right? So, if you endure pain, then you get the benefits later on. But if you give up, then you don't get it. In fact, there's an excellent book which I came out recently and almost more than 100 people through my suggestion have read, and that has really helped them to change their mindset. How many of you will be interested in knowing the name of the book? Please raise your hands. Okay. At the end of the talk, I'll give you. If I don't give, you remind me. Okay. Right. So, control and regulate emotions. That's the most important thing. And another thing related to that, well, talking about the negative aspects. How many, I talked about Viethal, why life is boring and all that. How many of you really feel happy every day? Like anger, frustration, irritation, all the negative emotions we experience so many times in a day. Whereas if I ask you, when did you feel really happy last time? You have to really search deep into your memory. Was it last week, last month, or last year? Right? A simple chocolate or an ice cream doesn't give a joy anymore. Most of the time we end up eating, thinking about something else, or looking into the WhatsApp. So that's why I used to tell the people who attend my programs, you are eating TV and WhatsApp, not the food. Because you are not concentrating. So if you learn, go and search what is mindfulness. Are you in the present? Are you enjoying what you are doing? Are you involved in what you are doing? Like I used to tell them, whenever I see a patient, it's a mini meditation because my 100% focus has to be there. I have to listen, completely and then give them a solution, and that too within a short time. People know me, they know the number of patients I see in psychiatry. When one of my colleagues told to his professor at UK, he sees that number of cases in a day, he said, how is it humanly possible in psychiatry to see that number? Okay, but I have to. So it's meditation. Like that, how many of the time you really lose yourself into an experience? Have you ever lost yourself completely into it, except probably looking into a WhatsApp or something like that, watching a video? If you can do that, good morning and welcome, madam. So, talking about controlling emotions, emotional dysregulation, not only that, feeling happy as often as possible, all that are important aspects of resilience. Because the more you lose your control over your emotions, you become less resilient. You give up. At one point of time, if you are not able to control your emotions, then you won't be able to think about the future and then come out of problem mindset. Next is having a purpose in life. That's one of the biggest questions. In fact, I started teaching goal setting after reading a lot about it and how it changes life. How many of you know the purpose of your life? Is it too early in life to ask about it? So, you should know whatever you are doing, why you are doing it. What is the direction in which you want to go? And this is my destination. So I need to select actions according to my destination. I need to avoid actions which will take me away from my destination. I want to reduce weight. So I need to take care of my food. I need to take care of my exercise. Okay, if I don't do exercise, it takes me away from the goal. If I eat the wrong food, it takes me 2 days to come back to the neutral level. So it takes me in the opposite direction. So is it taking me in the direction I want to go, or I am stationary, or I am going in the opposite direction, so that it takes extra time for me to come back here? So if you think like that, then substance abuse may not be a problem. At bad moments you won't be thinking about suicide. At bad moments you won't be thinking about spoiling somebody else's life. A lot of things will come in. So if you know the purpose of your life, and if it is larger than you, definitely you will be resilient. That's why they always say, have a purpose and move towards the purpose and let it be larger than you. In fact, I am undergoing some training programs at this point of time. In fact, one of my friends said, Dr. Selvaraj, when he was talking about, I said, I have enrolled for a program. He said, you will never stop learning, is it? So that's a coaching program. There they say, if your why is stronger, then you will find a way. Our chairman at 78 or 80, I don't know, he started the medical college, and then he used to talk. Have I started it a little late? Should I take up all this burden at this stage? But then today, it's considered one of the best medical colleges. In fact, I was going with a driver of a cab. He didn't even know that I am from this. And then he said, sir, KMCH Medical College is top on the list. Everybody who wants to join, they want to join there. And that's the level. So his why was stronger. He wanted to create. And he found a way. Like that, if you have a purpose in your life, you have a strong why. I want to do this. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. I can make a difference. That should be your aim. So once you have a purpose in life and then meaning, these are slightly different. Purpose is a part of meaning, but meaning is much larger. At a personal level, at a social level, at a professional level, the meaning differs. So in order to do that, purpose is one of the things. So once you have those things, then you never give up. Because resilience is holding on at the face of adversity. In other words, not giving up on anything you are doing, not giving up on life. So in order to do that, you need to have purpose and meaning. And then again, grateful. In fact, Martin Seligman, how many of you have heard the name? I don't know. In psychology, he is the person almost considered as the father of positive psychology. He was the president of the American Psychological Association and all that. He talked about this, an exercise called 3 things I am grateful for. At the end of the day, when you go to the bed, recollect your day and say, I am grateful for this, that this happened. I am grateful for this, that this happened in my life today. I am grateful for this, that, at least 3 things. What will happen when you do that? You will go to sleep happily, number 1. Tomorrow you will start looking for things that you are grateful for, instead of looking for things to complain. All of us are looking at what we don't have, forgetting that we are getting a lot of things. We compare with people above us and think that I don't have that. But very rarely we compare with people below us and say that I am grateful that I am having it. So how many times in a day, in a week, you feel grateful? I am grateful that I have my food. I am grateful that I have a roof. I am grateful that this is happening to me. I am grateful that I had an opportunity to talk to so many people and convey something. I am grateful to save a life. But most of us take a lot of things as a routine part of the work. That's why I said, get excited with whatever that's happening to you. Whatever you're doing, get excited. Unless otherwise you have a passion of whatever you're doing in life. Life has to be passionate. Are you enjoying your life? Then you will have at least 3 things to be grateful for. The more things you are feeling grateful about, the more happier your life, more resilient you become. So are you a person who complain about your average day, or are you a person who is grateful about your average day? Ask yourself that question. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions which you need to be asking yourself later on a continuous basis, right? Then, as I said, once you do all these things, yes, I am somebody special. I can make a difference. I can make a difference to someone at least. Or I can make a difference to a larger group of people. That confidence you should have. One, you know that, yes, I can make a difference. But you ask an average person, they are not very confident about what they are doing, about their life, what they want to do, so they can make a difference to somebody else's life. So that kind of sense of belongingness and also kind of pride, yes, I can make a difference. That is one of the characteristics. Then, problem solving skills. As I said, are you going to be a part of the problem? Are you going to be a part of the solution? If you are going to be a part of the problem, then you will be creating a problem, and if you are a part of the solution, you will be creating more solutions. So the environment you are in, whether people are going to like you, love you, or hate you according to whether you are a problem creator or a solution creator. So, then the most important thing I would say is sense of humor. In everyday normal activity, there are people who can see a lot of humor out there. In fact, my boss, Dr. Matrubodham, in 3 minutes he will crack 30 jokes. That's the kind of sense of humor. And one day we were sitting in the OP, he called a patient named Varuvaro. He didn't come. So he said, Varuvarajan Aitana. Automatically, just like that it comes. He didn't make it up or anything. So in every situation you can find for humor around yourself. That will really help you. And be flexible. You should be fixed about your goal, fixed about your purpose, but you should be flexible in the ways of achieving it. So think possibilities and opportunities. In every problem there is an opportunity. COVID, when it came, it probably brought a lot of changes, a lot of restrictions. But then there was a boom in Zoom. So I could attend a lot of programs conducted by people from abroad. I could even conduct programs where people from abroad could attend. So that made things easier. So every problem comes, there is a solution is there. It will be there. The problem will not last, whereas the solution will last longer than the problem. So once you can look at that, are you going to be looking for the opportunities? In fact, one of my slides I used to say, are you going to look a particular thing as a problem or an event or a challenge or an opportunity? When you consider it as a problem, then you have a negative mindset. Immediately you cannot take it as an opportunity. You cannot go to that mindset. So gradually from problem, you consider it as an event that has happened. That's all. Then that negativity is at least removed. You just think about it. Then you go to the next stage. This is presented as a challenge. Let me take it as a challenge. Let me see how I can face it. When you go there, your adrenaline is raised, your energy level goes up. Then, this is an opportunity. If I find a solution for this, I'll be the first person to move ahead. A lot of people during COVID times, garment manufacturers moved into mask and PPE kit production. Existing business was not moving, but they had the opportunity. So those who shifted early, they could convert that into an opportunity. This is a problem, challenge, let me convert that into an opportunity, and those are the people who survive. Whereas those who consider it as a problem, they just remain there. So look for opportunities and possibilities. Of course, all of us need a spiritual orientation. Spiritual is not religious, it's above that. So, all of us need to accept that there is a higher power among us. Sometimes we may not understand what's happening to us at a given point of time. You have the freedom of action, but you don't have the freedom of result. Sometimes we do our best effort and we don't get the result. Sometimes we don't even put in that kind of effort and we get excellent results. Like Dr. Venkateswaran is here, he will know. There are some patients, we don't even think much, think at a very superficial level, give some medication, within 2-3 weeks they improve remarkably. There are some patients, we refer books, we work so much, try so many combinations, still they may not. So there are a lot of factors operating outside us. So if you are going to think that, why there is a failure in spite of my best effort, that's when there are things beyond our control. Once you know that, yes, there are certain times we may not succeed, but the process, I have learnt a lot. It may not given the result that I wanted, but in doing that, I have learnt a lot in the process. That's the most important thing. Then of course, strong and willingness to change. Enjoy learning. That's the most important thing, because learning is the only thing which is going to keep you alive, keep you in time.
In fact, Brian Tracy is a person who says that knowledge doubles in 3 years in every field if you take. So for 3 years, if you don't update yourself, you are outdated. And that's the kind of learning that's needed, not only when you are a student, you are a lifelong student. So you need to enjoy the process of learning. If you don't enjoy learning, if you think it's a very, very laborious process, then you are not going to grow. Then adaptable and adjustable, and most important thing is being connected to others. The more connections you have, the more people you are connected to, the more people you are willing to help, the more people who are willing to help you, then you are going to be a person who is very, very resilient. If you are an isolated person, you don't connect with people, you just keep to yourself, you make your own choices, you don't ask for help, you don't help others, then it's very difficult for you to be a resilient person. So that's in short about mental health. Of course, there are a lot more slides, but time is up. We need to move into inauguration and other aspects. So probably I will have 5 minutes for questions and then we will wind up.